This tape is specifically meant for Abdi Madobe, one of the deadliest shifters to have ever lived. He was killed around November 1980. I joined the Kenya Police in November 1982. So he died about 2 years before I joined the police. In my manuscript, which many publishers have feared touching, I don't think I've mentioned Abdi Madobe, or if I've mentioned him in passing, because my book is majorly on my life in the police, and I have avoided things which happened before or after. I may have touched a few things here and there, but mostly it starts from the time I was employed to the time I was sacked. So if at all there is Abdi Madobe mentioned anyway, it is not in detail, but it is in passing. So I decided to comment strictly on Major Madobe, and we have some few topics which cover 2 to 3 minutes, which I felt I should not make independent tapes, but I should include that. One is about Major Maua, who is equivalent to Madobe, but Maua was Pokot, and he was very feared the way Madobe was feared. But Madobe was feared in Northeastern, especially Garissa, and Major Maua was feared in West Pokot. In the army, we have 3 ranks that are called major. We have a warrant officer, who is called Sergeant Major. We have a major, just major without anything on top. And then we have Major General. Now, military people will tell you that they call Sergeant Major, they call him Sir Major. It is not Sir as the English word S-I-R, no. It is Sir as per wristwatch. The badge of rank of a military sergeant major, he puts on a wristwatch-like thing, which is, it looks like our wristwatch, but it is his badge of rank. So they say Sir Major or Sergeant Major. Then there is Major, just Major. This one is officer in charge of a company, but to differentiate Major with the Sergeant Major and Major General is that from the rank of Major, or in the police we have OCPD, there is usually something on his cape, which people call it Maua. So this gentleman was a major of CO level, and so they were calling him Major wa Maua. He had Maua on his kofia. Major General, of course, no, people don't talk about it because during the 70s and 80s, there were very, very few Major Generals. So when someone called himself a major, you wanted to know Major wa Sir ama Major wa Maua. Idi Amin had recruited military officers, especially at the higher cadre, from neighboring countries. He did not want to recruit from Uganda because of the fear that they would overthrow him. Most of them were from Sudan and Kenya. So Major Maua as in Maua ya kofia, was a Pokot. So when Amin was overthrown, he came back to Kenya and became a Ngoroko. For your information, I'm a veteran of both Ngoroko and SHIFTA. I fought in the 2. Now, when he went there, Francis Polisi Loile Lotodo recruited him to take care of the military wing of Ngoroko. Francis Polisi Loile Lotodo was in charge of the political side. So one time, Major Maua was fighting with the wreck company at a place, cannot really recall, was it Kanyerus or Nakuyen? I think it is Kanyerus. They were fighting and they really fought for a long time without any side winning. Then Major Maua looked at the officer in charge of the wreck company. Wreck company by then was stationed at Kongelai. Kongelai is next to Kacheliba, next to the river. When they were fighting, it reached a place when he looked at the person, the officer in charge of the... First of all, there was a problem. Wreck company had two gazetted officers. There was a superintendent and a senior superintendent. So I think we lost a few people there because the officer in charge, Kiptum Arab Manyinya, the famous Kiptum Arab Manyinya, he was telling people to withdraw, and an SP was his deputy, was telling people to advance. So some withdrew, some were advanced, and in the confusion they lost some people. But after fighting for some time, Major Maua looked and saw the mulatto, Chotara fellow. And then he shot the cape, removing a cape from the head, and noticed that, hey, Bwan, so it is you. They greeted each other and they became friends. And then Manyinya told them, you know, we are the government. We want you to surrender the firearms. Major Maua said, in that case, let us go back to fight. But they parted in peace. There's two captains who went to Sandhurst. Sandhurst, in Kenya now we used to have NDC. You'll find many people in the disciplined forces, they have, after their names, there is NDC, K in brackets. That is, they attended National Defense College, Kenya. But the National Defense College has now been upgraded to National Defense University. So chances of going to Sandhurst are really reduced. Two people went and they really looked alike. And you know, among Somalis, you don't have two names, you only have one. So if it is a boy, it is Yakub. For example, a boy can be called Yakub, no, Ahmed Yakub Jaffa. A boy can be called Ahmed Yakub Jaffa, and the sister can be called Halima Yakub Jaffa. So these were two brothers. One had been sent to Sandhurst by Somali government, and the other one was sent by Kenya. They were twin brothers. So people used to get confused because they looked alike and it is only the first name. But when the Sandhurst military administration called them, they said that they come from the border and one chose to be a Somali national. Just like Mudi Awori was the MP for his constituency, bordered his brother at the boundary. The brother, Nelson Awor, was an MP in Uganda and Mudi Awor was an MP in Kenya. Back to Major Madobe. Major Madobe was, I've watched a clip in YouTube. In fact, if you Google, you'll find the story about Major Madobe. But if you look at the Standard, Tuesday, November 11, 1980, I believe some of the people who are appearing in the clip are very senior people, respectable, but they're insisting that Madobe was purely a poacher. But then the Standard of Tuesday, 11th November 1980 states that Madobe was a SHIFTA person. During my time in Northeastern fighting SHIFTA, I believe he most likely was both, but more of a SHIFTA than a a poacher. Because if you look at the tape, they're trying to say that he had several business deals and always being given fake money. Lightning does not strike, and a person of his caliber could not do that. What had happened was that he had worked in the military and rose to the rank of major, and then just like Major Maua, and then he turned against the Kenyan security personnel. And he knew camouflage. He was a Somali, and he knew that the best way to attack other people, Somalis don't drink. The few Somalis that I know that partake alcohol, like one of my constables in Mandera, when he is in Northeastern or in Isili, in an area that is dominantly Somali, he'll not taste alcohol. But when he goes to places where there are no Somalis, he'll take alcohol. So Madobe used to target bars, especially at a place around 10 p.m. because bars would close at 11. And he used to be very clever because he would enter the bar and say, "Attention!" And you know, most police officers or most disciplined people, even when he's drunk, he's still consciously an askari. So when he's drunk and you say "attention," civilians would be shocked and they just sit, and all askaris would stand. And then he would shoot all of them. He did this. According to the videotape, they are saying that he was castrated because of poaching. We have dealt with a lot of poaching. We have families. In Garissa, we have a family called Ba Yusuf. Yeah, Ba Yusuf started in Garissa. They have in fact, the branch in Mombasa is bigger than the one in Garissa, but originally they were from Garissa. They started their business in poaching, but later got saved and did clean business. All the lorries you see by Yusuf. So, system of the government castrating poachers, I've never heard. But what I was told, and I was working for the intelligence, is that Abdi Madobe was castrated by askaris because of the system he used to use. He would enter a bar almost closing time and shout, "Attention!" And then everybody who stood up, he would aim a gun just above the heads of those who were seated. And everybody who stood up, he would be shot. And that one, viewer, is about Abdi Madobe.